Hi Sambhavi, welcome to Your Knowledge Buddy.
Hi, thank you.
Okay, and if you don't mind, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
I'm Dr. Sambhavi Ganesh. I completed my PhD recently from the University of Edinburgh, and I've since then moved to London. Right now, I'm working as a teaching assistant at King's College London. I'm teaching politics courses to undergrad students.
First of all, congratulations for Global Talent Visa.
Thank you.
Okay, so recently what I'm doing, I'm hosting more and more people to create awareness about Global Talent Visa so that people who are eligible can apply. The main problem that I have realized that students, they don't even know that they're eligible for Global Talent Visa. So I'm aware that there are 4 different routes in Global Talent Visa. Through which route did you get Global Talent Visa?
I got it through the peer review route.
Which is route 4.
Yes.
So can you talk about which category? Because in route for peer review, they have different industry like arts, fintech and technology.
Science, I believe.
Yeah. So which one did you get?
I got it with the British Academy, which gives out endorsements for social sciences and humanities people.
Okay.
And under the peer review route, I had 2 stages of application. The first is the endorsement application, which don't mistake it for an immigration application, that is different. The first stage, you basically have to submit your application to the British Academy, and they will consider based on your merits whether to endorse you or not. And using the endorsement letter, you go through a stage 2, which is the immigration application. By that time, it becomes very easy. I would say that the first application is crucial.
Okay. So while you were studying, when did you realize that there's another visa category called as Global Talent Visa, and then you can apply? Was it through your seniors, through your professors, or through YouTube videos? How did you know about Global Talent Visa?
Dinner conversations with PhD colleagues. So we would just talk about there's something called a Global Talent Visa. Maybe we should consider that. And during this time, there was a lot of uncertainty about the graduate route visa because it was being reduced from 2 years to 18 months for master's students. And for PhD, we had 3 years. But the difference was that we have to pay upfront for 3 years in the graduate route visa, which is a large chunk of money. For the global talent, the difference is that you can apply any time between 1 to 5 years. So there's that flexibility. So if you want to stay only for a short period of time, you can do that. Then you can keep on reapplying as much as you want. Another difference is that you can also freelance. So the conditions for work are somewhat relaxed as compared to the graduate visa. And thirdly, if you get a job which could otherwise be a sponsored job if you're on a skilled worker visa, here you don't need to rely on your workplace to sponsor you, so you are almost as good as a local lab.
Yeah.
So these are the 3 differences.
I want to talk more about why you thought you were eligible for Global Talent Visa. So what were the documents you submitted? Let's start from scratch. Because most of the time what I realized, many of my audience who are doing PhD, they don't even know whether they are eligible. And also you don't need to have a PhD. People who are in technology, if they can prove that they're already a leader or potential leader in their space, they are also eligible. So from your journey, from your perspective, what do you think you have that made you eligible for Global Talent Visa?
Just being the PhD process. I think you're already eligible 2 years into your PhD. But during that time, I had my student visa. I was on a fully funded PhD in the University of Edinburgh. So I wasn't thinking too much about life after the PhD. So once I submitted my PhD last April, and my visa was running out, I think last December, and then I started to think about what next. And I didn't want to do the graduate visa because I saw too many people just paying too much money upfront and then kind of regretting whether to stay or not because the job situation is difficult. So that's how I realized. And when it comes to the process, I have to submit basically evidence of my ongoing or completed PhD. So by the time I applied, I had my PhD award. So the certificate saying that this person has completed all the requirements for the PhD. I was also on a fully funded PhD, so they also asked for evidence of raising able to get funds for your work. So I showed my one letter for the scholarship, which I got when I started my PhD. And thirdly, I also showed evidence of publication. So when you are going through the research route, I understand that you can also apply with the tech route or with the arts and creative industries route. But in the research route, you have to show evidence of research outputs and also research funding. So A, my PhD award, B, my scholarship, which I got in the beginning of the PhD, and C, my publication. I had a publication.
Okay. So what if somebody, they don't have a fully funded scholarship like you got, but they have some publication where they're doing a PhD. Do you think they will be eligible for global talent visa?
Yeah, so ever since I applied, I've guided about 10 of my friends and colleagues, and some of them don't have a scholarship but they have publication. I would encourage them to apply because it is a accumulation of all the evidence that you can show, right?
Okay.
And because I did my PhD from Russell Group University, they also consider that. So this route, by the way, is open to PhD from any
Any part of the world.
So it's not just UK, and I knew it because I was staying in the UK, but also like a US PhD or one India PhD, they can evidence that they have done a good job in the PhD, and they have to be endorsed by a British resident. So that is the key here. So even if you're...
What do you mean by that, British resident? Is it a professor?
For me, it is a professor, but for the tech people or for the creative industry people, it could be anyone who can objectively show that this person has talent. So it has to be a professional relationship. They need to spell out in the letter how long they know this person, and in what capacity they know the person, and what position they are to comment. Right? So it has to be a leading person in the field as well. So for me, it was my first supervisor who was a British person.
Yeah. I think for you, it was a little easier because you were in the UK, you studied here. But I'm just thinking and considering an applicant, say, who is in India, who's doing a PhD in India, and they want to apply. Who do you think they should reach out to in the UK to get that kind of reference letter?
Maybe someone who they have collaborated with in their research.
Okay.
So for example, I know a lot of people who do like research associate work while staying in India for a UK professor. So maybe someone like that would be suitable.
So one thing that I'm learning, and this is a note from my audience, if you are applying or if you want to apply for global talent visa from outside UK, make sure during your publication you try to work with some professors in the UK which will help you to get a reference letter, which is important for global talent visa. So you talked about because you were doing a PhD, you got a full scholarship, you talked about your publication. How many publications do people need to have?
So I would say that it's quality more than quantity. I had one just when I was submitting, so I just showed that. But that's a leading journal and it was peer reviewed. So rather than like a blog piece or an opinion piece, this was something that was reviewed by two academics who thought that it was of good quality to be published. So that makes a difference. So good quality journal, it has to be peer reviewed rather than just like a reviewers.
Okay. Any other important document or any other preparation my audience needs to do if they are aiming for global talent visa?
I think start putting together your documents, like request your references well in advance, and the format has to be exactly the way in which they have requested. So the British Academy has a very useful website where they've talked about all the 4 ways in which you can apply. So I went to that website and checked, okay, under the peer review, under exceptional, I am an early career academic, so I could apply only in the exceptional promise. If you have more than 5 years experience, you can do the exceptional talent route. So I checked the website, and then I also have to write, okay, I think one tip that I have is that it's very much like a job application. You have to get a recommendation letter, you have to write your own statement of purpose, why am I suitable to get this. They'll also ask you how you will contribute to the UK if you get the visa. So I have proposed that I will encourage South Asia collaboration. So, if you're living in India, you can't really meet academics from Pakistan or vice versa. You have to come to London to meet them. So those are the things that I kind of propose. That I will put South Asian networks. So yeah, you have to almost like a job application convince the British Academy why you're a good candidate, and someone who's recommending you should also be able to convince the British Academy, and they should send their CV as well. So my professor has a 30-page CV. He's a very senior person. And he wrote his letter and he sent his CV, and then I uploaded my CV. I uploaded like a statement of purpose, and then I added all the proof to submit. This is why I'm saying that the first stage is more complicated. By the time you reach the second stage, they don't ask you where you've lived in the past. Like the system, the way they ask you in your student visa application or anything else, none of that. Like if the British Academy thinks that you're a good person or that you're endorsed, give the talent, it's more safe.
Okay, how much preparation time is needed for you? How much time did you take?
I had been researching about this since September. I applied in late October when I got my award. But by research, I don't mean like just sitting with it the whole day. When you get some free time, just Google around, look at the documents that are in place. So like let's say 15 minutes a day, I just took out of time.
Okay, so from the time you applied until the time you didn't get your visa was almost 3 to 4 months, the whole process?
I can explain how that works.
Yeah.
So again, I would urge everybody to remember that the first endorsement application is not an immigration application. So just because you've done the endorsement doesn't mean you get the right to live here. So I got my award in late October. I said earlier that you're eligible and ready to use your PhD, but I thought I would wait till I get my award and my student visa is close to getting over so that I can join over to this visa. So I got the award October 23rd and I applied on the October 24th because I had all my my recommendation letter, my CV, everything prepared, and I just had to sort of put it in and upload everything. British Academy says they take up to 8 weeks to get back to you. They got back to me in 5 weeks. This was early December 2nd, I believe. And then when we had all the letter and everything, and then I could apply for the second stage where you could go and give your thumbprint for biometrics. I got an appointment middle of December, so I was worried because it's going to be Christmas after that, and my visa was getting over 30th December, so I went and did my biometrics on 17th December. But the moment you do your biometrics, you are eligible to stay back because there is something called a 3C, right? Which means that once your visa is running out, the moment you do your biometrics, you're eligible to stay back. So I was on 3C leave till early February. So I think I got the visa on 4th February. If you're staying within the country, you get it in 8 weeks. If you're staying outside the country, you get it in 3 weeks.
What piece of advice do you have for my audience?
If you have an option, if you think you're eligible, definitely apply for the Global Talent Visa rather than the graduate route or even a skilled worker visa. I would say, companies in HR, I have heard from people who have been advising that their HR doesn't want to put them on the Global Talent Visa because then the worker will have an advantage.
Yeah.
They can switch jobs.
Yeah.
But that's exactly why you should be on Global Visa rather than
Can you share any exceptional example from your network or the groups that you have helped people where people got more global talent visa from different background?
I'm afraid I mostly only know academics.
Okay.
But from what I'm hearing around, people also get it in, I think, tech and the creative industries. But since I started applying, I have helped at least 10 other people apply in it, but there's yet to be, they're still in the process.
Okay.
So the moment I got it, I think my friends also got inspired.
Okay. And they all were successful as well with your help and guidance, right?
They're in the process.
They're in the
but
process.
I hope, I've advised them the best I could.
Yeah, okay. What kind of roles, because you did PhD in academic, so what was the exact PhD you did here?
My PhD is in South Asian Studies. I contribute to sociology and gender studies.
Okay. And what kind of job will you apply now? What kind of roles are you targeting?
Right now, I am on teaching jobs. I teach at King's College London and another place. You could also apply for research role like postdoctoral fellowships. You can actually do a wide range of jobs, but when you want to extend or apply for the ILR, you have to show evidence that the earnings that you made are related to your field.
Oh, you have to do that?
Yes.
No, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And for global talent visa, so did you get? So there are two categories, subcategories in terms of leader or potential leader. So what do you categorize as leader or potential leader?
So I think the leader and potential leader you're talking about is the exceptional talent and exceptional promise.
Yeah.
In British Academy, at least that's how I saw it being defined. The exceptional talent category is for people with more than 5 years of experience,
Right.
and they have to show their expertise in or sort of outcomes in more than one country.
Okay.
An exceptional promise, such as early career people such as myself, only have to show their expertise in like one country, having worked
Okay.
in one country. I think in exceptional talent, you also have to get recommendations from two.
Okay.
For me, it was just one person.
Okay.
So those are the-
So there's a little difference in ILR timelines, right? One is for 3 years and 5 years.
I believe so, but I don't think it's directly linked to 3 years for exceptional talent and 5 years for exceptional promise. I'm still a bit unclear on that, but I'm going to assume that it will take me 5 years.
Okay.
So,
From my understanding of at least the tech bit that I have reviewed and understand, if you are a leader, then you get your ILR in 3 years. If you're leader or potential leader, then it's 5
Yes,
years. So it's
exactly.
very
Promise.
similar to
Could be.
what you're
Yeah,
saying, yeah?
could be.
Because for people with more than 5 years of experience, they are kind of considered leader if they have proved through evidence. And if they're potential leader, it means you are not yet there, you're almost there, but not yet there. So you take longer to get an ILR. So 3 and 5 years, that's my understanding so far. Okay, so far I have learned a lot from you. Thank you very much for coming and sharing your knowledge. So all the videos on Global Talent Visa which I'm doing now is to create awareness for you guys. If you want me to host more people so that you can learn, please let me know in the comment section. And thank you very much for coming and sharing your knowledge. Thank you. And all the best to you guys.